Dance is like a very human element. I mean, it's been like with us before language was with us. Like people were dancing to music, and I think it's something, if you give it a chance, everyone can relate to and take something from.
I think movement in general, people can just relate to it. The physicality is like, you know, it can be infectious. If you're sitting down and watching someone move to music, it's really kind of undeniable that you don't, you know, if it's good, you sort of feel the connection between the person, the music, and I think that dance is really a universal language. We move all day, and so dance is just kind of a little bit more of the art form that takes that idea and just, you know, amplifies it.
I didn't really hold a deep interest in ballet until I was 15. I was introduced to I call him like my ballet godfather, because it's the person who changed ballet for me. And then I just ended up being a victim of an art form, you know, like after that you don't think.
What led me to pursue dance as a profession was actually just kind of serendipity, and I kind of fell into my first contract and I didn't really know what was going to be involved. I mean, I had always studied dance and I loved it, but once I moved over to the professional side, it was like with every year that passed, it was like an onion peeling away, and you saw a new layer and a new depth to what you were trying to achieve.
I started dancing really late. I really started dancing at like the age of 18. I was basically right out of high school. So my passion for ballet came from starting really late, knowing that once I found dance, it was like I had to do it. I had to train really hard if I was going to have a career or even have a possibility in this field.
Ballet is passion. Everything you do in ballet has to come from the heart. If you don't do it from the heart, it just doesn't work. Passion is the reason why we're all doing this.
It's irreplaceable.
It's different with every piece. Like some pieces you have a build up, so you're pretty chill, you know you're going to go out there and you'll have a little time to do this, do that, feel the stage, get over it, then do your hard stuff. Other pieces are like, bam, shot out of a cannon. It's all really different, but I'm always super excited because this show is happening once and I just want to enjoy it and soak it all up.
Once the curtain opens, it doesn't matter. It's all the waiting. Before, that's the butterflies and the nerves can get you.
You are nervous. It's not necessarily a bad thing. When you step on stage and you have that very, very short time, you know, of 1 hour or 2 hours where it's just like, that's it. You know, like it's worth everything you do, like all your effort, all your injuries, everything, it's worth it.
You push your hardest, you do the best you can, and then the showtime comes. And there you do the show. And at the end of the show is the biggest reward of all. It's, you know, the audience is clapping, 2,000-3,000 people are there watching you and clapping for you. And that second, those few minutes kind of make it all worth it.
It's fun, it's just awesome.
I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
As a choreographer, once the curtain opens, I'll tell you, you have no control, which is different than as a performer, you have all the control.
I always had confidence. I could be nervous before, but as soon as the curtain went up, all of the nerves were gone and I just performed.
That is I want to say, a very vulnerable place to be. I've learned to be there because I'm there all the time, but it's kind of a place that it's up to the performers. And if you prepared them, then you should be okay.
And I used to get nervous. And it's like cutting that umbilical cord and watching the other dancers, and you hope you gave them everything you could give them.
It's the mind games that kind of can happen, especially when you're on stage and you have nerves and, you know, just overcoming that and still being true to your own artistic vision.
The mental preparedness works in the same way as the physical. I think they go hand in hand in the fact that it takes time to feel comfortable with a very difficult work.
In the studio, that's the awesome part. As a choreographer, I love process more than the actual performance. You explaining to them what to do, they start moving, you know, they do the movement, and I enjoy it. You're like, wow, this is really awesome.
You really learn from your peers. You don't read this in a book, you don't look at a videotape and then go out and dance it. It has to be taught in person. So I think a lot of the dancers here have had experience like this, and then they take it farther for each production we do.
It's the profession. We dance 8 or 9 hours a day. We are required to dance 8 or 9 hours a day, and we love to dance 8 or 9 hours a day. But of course, joints wear out, muscles get injured, and that kind of is normal for a career of a dancer. Every dancer goes through injuries through their career.
I enjoy the physical challenge of things. I mean, that's hard. But every day you see your progress. You see, oh, I didn't mess up this turn that time, or I'm less out of breath today than I was yesterday.
What keeps me going, what keeps me doing this is the people. It's the dancers, it's the artists, it's the people that I work with, it's the musicians, because that's kind of makes it all worthwhile for me.
Now I feel more sense of enjoyment of watching performances as we are able to put together different programs, and I watch the quality of the dancers performing.
It's just the collaboration that happens among all the dancers and the artistic staff that is true and unique. The more you get into ballet, and the more you start to love the art form more and more. Because there's almost like a give and come back, like you go to rehearsal, you do 9 hours of rehearsal, you sweat, you push your hardest, you do the best you can, and then the showtime comes, and there you do the show, and at the end of the show is the biggest reward of all.
The only bad thing for me is when it's all over. I get a little bit down when I'm driving home after the last performance, and when it's all over and I realize how long it's taken to put together, and I go, okay, now it's a memory.
I've come to realize part of what I love the most about dancing is it's like a moment frozen in time, kind of. You're breathing, the way your muscle feels when you stretch your leg, the feel of the floor, the sound of the audience in a silent moment. To me, it's just kind of like these magical little moments where you have this incredible realization.
All of us are perfectionists, so you're constantly trying to tune it up to that non-existing, like trying to get the best out of it.
Sometimes it feels like work. Sometimes I think we're masochists, but I mean, there's so much more beyond that. I mean, when I wake up every morning, I'm excited because I know that nothing's going to happen exactly the same as it did yesterday, and I'm going to grow in some way and learn something.
I knew that my heart was here. It's not just my brain. I maybe didn't even understand, like what I wanted. But my heart, I wanted to be here.
When you do ballet to its ultimate, which I think we do, it's a fantastic art form for people to have at their hearts. To make an audience just stand up and in the middle of a performance and do a standing ovation feels incredible. It feels really incredible to have so many people so happy about what they just saw.
The feeling I get after I'm done dancing the ballet is just almost that of having been meditating or something. It's really kind of a spiritual, quiet, fulfilling sort of feeling.
You can't think ahead when you're performing on stage. You can't think of what happened in rehearsal the day before or 2 days before. You have to be in the moment. And that is the only way how you can fully experience performing.
There's nothing like having that dialogue between the dancers and the live musicians in the room with the audience. It's just a real great communication that happens. The vibe is always good and there's a freedom to it. So sometimes the band can run off on their own direction and really get into the improvisation, but we kind of have to keep the structure the same in order for the dancers to know where they are.
You're containing energy within yourself in order to perfect your personal instrument, like your personal body. It's such a huge toll, but extremely rewarding at the show.
The relationships that you develop, I mean, for me within the company, but also just within a piece or a ballet. My relationship with my partner and the other dancers on stage, but also the audience and how they're experiencing that. And it's all one big circle of energy.
I think the coolest thing will be when you're at the show and you see the performance and you hear the singers and the band right in the same room with the dancers. I think that's going to be the coolest thing.
They love it right from the beginning. The very first chance to applaud is after the chair dance, and it's kind of a musical chairs, and it's cute, it's funny, and the audience immediately gets engaged and starts applauding. And every single time that happens, and through the program, it must happen at least about 16, 18 times. It gets louder and longer, louder and longer. To me, it's because they've gotten closer and it's more successful as the evening happens. So it's a very pleasing program.
It's irreplaceable. Like, who wants to sit in the office, watch the computer, you know, all day long, you know, and punch numbers? It doesn't matter, you can be as smart as, you know, like nuclear scientist, but it's still like boring. And here you're blessed, you know, with having actually put the food on the table at the same time doing this stuff. You know, like really talking to people, see, it's just awesome.
Feeling whole, that's what happens when you get on stage, you feel whole. And that's one of the most beautiful feelings in the world.
You're forced to redefine and expand your boundaries, redefine what you thought was ballet, both the dancers and the audience.
It's worth everything you do, like all your effort, all your injuries, everything, it's worth it.
The excitement of being able to watch and see new dancers, cast changes. I'm usually not nervous. I'm pretty confident of my dancers, and I really look forward to seeing the magic of what we're able to put on the stage.